Hello, hello. Happy Saturday. Barb Pitcock here, coming to you live from Kansas today. We are home for the week and the weekend, cooking tons of food today. Had lost a very dear friend, and the memorial service is Monday and Tuesday. So I am home this weekend. Thought it was going to be a chill weekend, and literally spent the last 24 hours just nonstop on phone calls and Zooms. And it really made me think about my topic for today. When you are a CEO, you really don't get to just plan how your days and nights are going to go. You have a responsibility, and the responsibility is always about the people. And so today I want to talk to you guys about that. A CEO is not a job for someone that is selfish. That is for sure, because you're going to have to be selfless if you're going to be an amazing CEO. And I will tell you, I have not always been amazing, and it has been a journey, but I have grown, and I am so proud of where we're at today. Now, I want to tell you guys something. There is a lot happening in the industry that I chose, and I want to be very mindful of people's feelings and emotions and their livelihood, their families, their mortgage payments, their ballet lesson bill, their car payments, their groceries, their rent, their utilities that need paid today. You know, that's what really brought me to this industry in 1996. And a lot of people think it was a product. Oh, Barb's always been into nutrition. No, Barb was really brought in to the industry of direct sales because of surviving, being a mom, and having to take care of my own children. And so I say this to you, and I don't take it lightly. Like, people's livelihoods are on the line, and I've had mine on the line before, and I've lost everything, not once, not twice, but almost three times. And what happens is your failure gives you wisdom. And so I'm coming to you today with no notes. I have no notes, tried to write down a few notes. I really woke up this morning and I was praying, like, what are the words? Because I have so many friends that I dearly love that are in the industry of direct sales that are not a part of my company. And I know that yesterday they literally were shook to their core. And I would never be in their inbox trying to recruit them. That's somebody else's organization. I would never be trying to prey on them or tear them down or speak badly of them or their company, because that's someone's livelihood. And I see my daughter Callie on here today, and Callie could do this live, because being a CEO is a lot more than just having a job. It's a lot more than just representing a brand or a company. It's your life. It's your life. It's your livelihood. It's your reputation. It's your responsibility. And raising my children in a little small town here in Russell, Kansas, one thing that I'm very grateful for, I mean, if I decide I want to go to lunch today, I got a couple of choices. There's an old rundown Dairy Queen that some authentic Mexican food is cooked every day. There is also a cafe that has been here since, I don't even know, probably when I was 7 or 8. It started as the Boot Hill Cafe, and I worked my first waitressing job there at the age of 14. On Mother's Day, I started the minute I was old enough to red off the dishes and be the bus girl, and then I was a waitress. Growing up in a small town when there's only a couple of restaurants, we finally got a McDonald's when I was like 10. There's a McDonald's and a Sonic and a Subway. We do have an A&W root beer stand, but that's about it, in a bar downtown where you can get a hamburger. When I think about how I grew up, your handshake and your word was everything. And, out here, people farm, they work in the oil field, cattle ranchers. There's not a building in my town that has more than 3 floors on it, and that's the hospital. And it's not very big. So I pretty much grew up knowing everyone in town. And I want to tell you guys something that I learned. In a small town, everybody knows who you can trust. Everybody knows who you can't. Everyone knows that friend that will always be there no matter what. And the friend I lost this week, He was that kind of a friend. Like the whole town lost a good friend this week because he was someone that if you called him, you knew that you could count on him. Growing up with mom and dad being an entrepreneur, one of the things that I learned very quickly is you can't be so busy making a living that you don't have any time to make a life. Because I would have never thought my parents would have divorced. And I watched that stress of traditional business. And, they owned a grocery store and 7 rental properties and a campground and a putt-putt golf and 2 dairy distribution semis. And we had a firewood business where we cut firewood on the weekends and us kids would chop the firewood, and we tore down buildings and we sold recycled wood. And like my parents were hustling. They were chasing the dream, chasing the dream, chasing the dream. So I learned a work ethic. Like I don't know cartoons. I don't know movies because I was always taught idle time is the devil's workshop, right? Like if you don't have something to do, let me give you something to do. And that's just the way that I grew up. But what I learned watching them build massive businesses is that it has to be scalable and it has to be good at the root. My mom and dad got in partnerships. They actually owned a portion of the Sonic Drive-In at one time and a portion of Natoma Foods grocery store. I was 12 years old and it was child labor. I wasn't even old enough to be working, and there wasn't a scanner for you to run the canned goods. You had to punch them all in, right? And you had to count change. And I saw my parents go through times where something happened with a partner, and then the next thing you know, we didn't have a grocery store or we didn't own part of the Sonic. And I watched what stress did in their life. And, I am grateful for everything that happened in my childhood because it taught me responsibility. It taught me a work ethic. I was thinking this week, as we lost a dear friend here in Russell, my mom was a single mom when I was 18. And my dad left on graduation night. And we didn't see my dad for several years, didn't even know where he moved to until the day that Dave and I got married. Your dad's always your dad, no matter what. I forgive my dad. I love my dad. He came back, walked me down the aisle. It was the first time I had seen him in many, many years. But, in the Bible, it says, you got to treat other people how you would want to be treated. And it also says you have to forgive. And I was at a point in my life where I didn't want any more suffering. I didn't want any more hurt. I didn't want to be mad. I didn't want to get even. I didn't want to be angry. I just wanted to be all love. And I wanted my family to be blessed. And I know that it starts at the root. And if you're harboring something that is anything other than forgiveness or love, and you're putting that out, you're just going to get more of what you're putting out. So at a very, very young age, I learned how to not sabotage success. I learned that if I was building anything from a feeling of I'm going to get even or resentment or look at what they did to me or this isn't fair or, they call it daddy problems. Like, that's what the counselor would say. You have problems from your childhood, your inner self. I literally had to get deep. What is my purpose in life and what am I supposed to do? And I met an incredible CEO. She was actually the vice president. Her brother-in-law was the CEO. And Dave and I fell into a little home-based business. And I will tell you guys, I had been in several companies with little or no success. I was an entrepreneurial spirit from 14 on. I was teaching baton lessons when I was 16. I opened my own little dance studio in the basement of the city building, paid rent to the basement of the city building. I had 50 dance girls by the time I was 20. I really learned how to leverage. If I can teach 10 in an hour and they all pay me, like I could work 5 hours a week and get paid for 50 hours, right? And I could work. I'm telling you guys, one thing I know is how to work. But was I working or was I coping, right? Because all I did was work. And so I found myself engaged, having babies. Of course, I marry a man who is going to college. His mom is administrator assistant at the hospital. Get good grades, go to college, do the thing, get a good job. My husband became the foreman of a crew that was plowing fiber optic cable for like AT&T, Sprint, all the big phone companies. Man, we had a company truck. We had life insurance. We had health insurance. But he left on Monday mornings and he came home on Friday nights. and Brooklyn was rolling over. And the next thing you knew, my baby was not just rolling over, she was crawling. And then she was standing up. And I remember one day when Dave would get home on a Friday and say, wow, she changed so much. I was like, this is stupid. Like, this is stupid. We need to be together every single day. But how do you do that? So we started our own business. We were the CEOs of a little place called the Old Tower. And it was an old pizza place on the corner of Main Street. And that year, Bob Dole was running for president. Now, you guys might not think that's a big deal, but the only thing that ever happened in this little town is Bob Dole's childhood home. So when Bob Dole ran for president and Dave's grandma was his friend, they went to school together. They went to A&W root beer stand every time he came to Russell. We jumped on that. Man, timing is everything in business. We jumped on that. And we went on tour with this presidential campaign. We were making all the t-shirts. Now, one big lesson that we learned that year is scaling and investing and understanding that sometimes things are really, really good and sometimes they're not. And at the age of 23, Dave and I went from struggling, living paycheck to paycheck, cutting hair all day, teaching dance at night. My husband was a professional bull rider, so we went to rodeos on the weekend. He was refinishing antique furniture. Like, I didn't want him to be a foreman and work all week on a construction crew. I wanted us to own our own business. And we did. We owned 4 or 5 of them. And we were so busy making money, there was no time to make a life. And I found myself looking in the mirror like, wow, this is everything I watched growing up. And I learned what I lived. But like, we got to figure out a way to see our kids, to be able to go home at night and eat dinner and not be getting ready for the show on the weekend and answering calls or running to get somebody wants to tan at the tanning salon. Here's the reality of that, you guys. When you own your own business, it is 24/7. That is what you signed up for. Because if you don't take care of your business, you won't have a business. And so how do you scale that? How do you keep up? I was so young. I learned at a very, very young age how to really prioritize. And I had a dream and a goal, but I didn't want to do network marketing. Like, there was no way I was going back into that. I had done that before Dave and I were together, went to all the meetings, signed up in Amway, not once, but twice. I had been the Mary Kay girl. I had done Arbonne. I had the 3-wick party light candles. I had House of Lloyd home interiors, Christmas around the world, all over my salon. And I signed up to be the Avon lady. So let me tell you, I was the jack of all trades, but the master of none. And, that was before being an influencer was even a thing. I didn't realize that you have to focus. You can have multiple streams of income, but you have to focus with definiteness of purpose to really get one thing off the ground and have it be going good before you can take your time, energy, and vision and put it in 10 different things. So here I was, learning at a very early age what not to do. But I thought, I can do hair all day and make $350 a day. I mean, I'll just work 10 days a week, right? I remember that year I would be cutting hair. They had these little baby holders. It was a kangaroo. It would be under my feet. I would be rocking the kangaroo. Chance was in it. Brooklyn was hanging on my other leg. Didn't even know I had Callie in my belly. I mean, 3 babies in 4 years. My husband was a bull rider. We used to make a joke that everything was happening in 8-second increments. And some of you guys will get that joke later, but Dave didn't think it was very funny. And then I would say 8 seconds, throw your hat in the air. Woo! It was funny on stage when we would tell that story, but everything was happening so fast. I had no idea what I was doing. I was just working. And I want to tell you, I learned at the age of 23, Dave was 24. It's not about how much success you have, and it's not about how much money you make. It's not even about the rank that you hit or how big of a business you build. It's the person that you become. And the person that we became at a very young age was literally tempered through fire. I want you to think about a diamond. A diamond is just a rock that stood up to stress exceptionally well under pressure. And what is inside of you will come out under pressure. Dave and I have done the work for 30 years, not on our business, but on ourselves. because we were no stranger to adversity at a very young age. Dave fell into a company in 1996. I met this CEO. She was amazing. She taught me not to gossip, to never speak ill of other people, to always build people up, don't tear them down, always do the right thing, even when people aren't watching. And I learned the hard way. Like, this is before text messaging. This is before Facebook. This is before the internet. You had to do the right thing. And I loved this woman, and she was amazing. And my husband fell into a company that I didn't even want to join. And in 93 days, he replaced our income and brought me home to be a full-time stay-home mom. And that was really my dream. All I ever wanted was to be a mom. My mom was gone every day of my life working. I was the mom, the oldest of 5. And when I married Dave Pitcock, I was like, I want to keep God first, then our family, then our business. But isn't it crazy how finances and money and pressure will flip that whole thing right upside down to where it's just work, 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 money, survival, hustle. Like, what are you even chasing? Because we worked really, really, really hard, really hard. And one day in 2001, when we were in the top 3 of that company, loved these people like family, I will never forget, my mentor made a decision that he was going to make a move and go to a different company. And when he did that, it was never really the same there, because he was the one everybody looked at. And it did rip a hole in that company. And some people did follow him and some people didn't. And I loved him, but I was loyal. I had integrity. I mean, I was going down with the ship. There was no way I was leaving them people. They were like my grandmother and grandfather that had passed at a very early age. I loved these people and I believed them and I trusted them, right? But one thing that I learned is everything that glitters isn't gold. And sometimes you have to really dig deep and go with your gut instinct, because Dave and I were in our 20s. We had worked 7 years. We were making, not millions, but 40,000 a month in a little small town. Well, you can get by on that. You can give away more money than you used to make in a year and still get by when you make that much money where I live. And we thought we were set for life. And we moved out here in the country into our dream home where we still live today. We've never left this house. Same house from 25 years ago. But we moved to the country. We moved into our dream home. We brought the owners of the company here to our home. We introduced them to everyone in our organization. We had a hog roast outside, and we had a band, and we had a ladies' day, and we were just in heaven. And then there came some venture capital money. And here's what I want you to know. I've been in the field for 30 years, and I've also been an owner. And desperate people do desperate things. And sometimes you don't even understand what's happening. But I watched that CEO become very, very sick and actually lose her life to the stress of what happened in that company. Because see, there was one guy that was like the main guy. He was like the master distributor, and he was famous. And he took that little company from 12 million to 160 million until it wasn't. And then they had built the infrastructure, and they had the building, and they had all the VPs, and they had all the cars and houses, and they had just moved into their dream life just like I had. And then lawsuits and people leaving and inventory and trying to project what was going to happen. My friend Jana Mitchum lost her life to the stress of that. And I'm still friends with her family today. Actually spoke at her funeral. They sent me all of her jackets. She changed my life. It's where I met a lot of legends in this industry. But the sad thing that happened is I wasn't leaving. There was no way I was leaving. And what I didn't know, an investor, a famous investor, he's holding up Vince Lombardi in every poster that you see. An amazing guy. We went to the Super Bowl. We sat on the 50-yard line. I met Barry Manilow, Dave's mom's dream heartthrob, in the elevator. We were living the dream. And then the checks started bouncing. And then the car payments from the company weren't made. And then the products were on back order. And then everything was on sale. And then poof, it was gone. And it was devastating. And I remember that day, Dave and I, we could see the writing on the wall, and we literally wrote a resignation letter before it happened. And it was hard, but we didn't want to have a lack of integrity when we knew what was going on behind the scenes, and we didn't want to be a part of that. So we didn't sell. We didn't get a deal. In fact, I had a call. I didn't know this. There was a guy that called me that day named Brian, and he was like, I'll give you X amount for your position right now. Don't resign. And I was like, we could have got money for that. What? Like, we were driving back to our little town in our little free car that wasn't getting paid for anymore, thinking like, how are we going to pay for this Jaguar? We just moved into our dream home. It was devastating, you guys. And I learned a lot in 2001. If it could have got worse, Dave's little brother took his life. And we were dealing with no money, starting over, grief, all kinds of things. And we were like, we're never going through that again. But let me tell you something about the industry of direct sales. It allowed me to be a stay-home mom. It allowed me to move into my dream home. It allowed me to make so much impact and build the most amazing friendships and relationships. I couldn't throw out what had changed my life just because of a few bad people, right? So we started over again. And this time we were like, we're never trusting anyone again. We're doing this on our own. And we did. 10 years, 9 years, debt-free company, amazing brand, amazing culture, amazing people, amazing relationships. Dave and I did all the work. We didn't hire big CEOs. We did all the work. Dave's mom answered phones. My kids packed boxes. It was amazing. And then one day, a big guy came to me and said, you've got this little brand, but you could take it so big. If you come over here, we can take you in 50 countries. And once again, I learned a very valuable lesson. It's not about a publicly traded company. It's not about a whole bunch of investors. It's not about how big they are and where all they are. Here's what I want you to think about. Who are you getting into business with? And I'm a very, I love people. I like to see the good in people. I used to attract a lot of narcissistic people who were threatened by anything with a powerful woman. I don't attract those kind of people anymore. I actually repel them. But I did, once again, here I was finding myself in a partnership with some people that I thought were great people. And I made a lot of money. I started over from scratch. My kids were going to college. You know, we didn't sell. We didn't get a bunch of upfront money. We didn't get a big deal. We said, let's create something together and go big. And the next thing you know, I watched everything I built be dismantled. My doctor was gone. My products were gone. My people were leaving. And yet I was like, I'm not leaving. Like I said I was going to do this. By God, I'm going to do this. And I'm not leaving until I had to, because it was completely dismantled by ego, a lot of VPs not getting along. All the president left, the management left, the vice president left, the marketing people left, all the top leaders left. And then I'm sitting there like, what do I do? Right? So once again, I come to the table like, let's communicate. What can we do? Let me tell you guys, a lot of times partnerships don't work. And a lot of times really good people have good intentions. They just do whatever they have to do to survive. So I don't blame them, because if I had been in their situation, I might have done the same thing. I used to blame them when I was young. I didn't know what I know now. Oh my God, I hated them. I wanted to post about them. I wanted to destroy them. I wanted to make sure that, that they knew that I was going to expose them. That was the thing, right? And what happened was I watched my mother-in-law mourn the loss of that. And just like the CEO that I loved so much, that literally lost her life and her health over it, my mother-in-law was literally terminally ill over stress, and business and what people had done. You guys, stress, let me tell you, if you don't get anything else out of this CEO talk, stress is the silent killer. It'll get you. It'll take everything you've got and you won't even know it's happening. You'll be like the boiling frog. You can always make more money. You can always make more money. Here's what you're never going to get back. You're never going to get back the time. Today's going to be gone. You're never going to get it back. When you have stress and hate and resentment, here's what happens. That emotion attacks every organ in your body and your muscles and your nerves, and it sends out a signal. It doesn't say we're growing. It says we're dying because it's a low vibration. And every time I have seen someone get very, very sick and lose their health, you can almost pinpoint what was happening in their life as far as stress. Now, I won't say that killed her. That which doesn't kill you does make you stronger, but it did make her really sick. And we worked through it. And I said, I'm never doing network marketing again, ever doing network marketing again. And that was 2017. But Dave and I still owned our manufacturing company. We still did, we bottled essential oils. Dave was like, you go ahead and go do your meetings with these crooked people. He was like, I'm going to go over here and just manufacture really good essential oils. So we started a vibrational oil company. And we went to America's Beauty Show, and 325,000 salon owners lined up to get a private label. And we were like, this is it. We're going to manufacture essential oils. We're never doing network marketing again. Until 3 network marketing companies called us, and we were literally bottling their oils. They're all arguing over who has the best oils, and we're over here like they're all coming out of the same 50-gallon drum. It's just a crazy industry, right? So Dave and I you got to be quiet when you're doing that. Nobody knows that you're the manufacturer, but we were doing really, really good. And then CBD, the Farm Bill, got passed, and every pharmacy that we bottled for and a lot of the mom and pop shops were like, can you put some CBD in that cream? Like, this is a new thing in Colorado. I was like, no, we're never doing marijuana. Like, no, right? Small town Baptist girl here. Oh my God, you don't know what you don't know. You got to stay teachable. You got to stay coachable. Your teachability index is everything when it comes to being successful. And you can't be the smartest girl in the room. Ego and greed and people having to be right has destroyed every good thing I've ever built, but not this time. So I decided I was going to build a traditional business, and I missed my network marketing friends. Once you have that bug, I was just built for this, but I tried to say I wasn't going to do it for a while. And I was actually at a Dallas market, and I was doing our traditional company, bottling, private label, and CBD erupted. We were the first ones to take it. And, here I was, the CEO of our own private label brand. It wasn't network marketing, crushing it. And one of the network marketing companies that owed us about 70 or 80,000 for their oil, it was funny. They were doing BOGOs. They were selling buy one, get one free, and they couldn't even pay us. But there was distributors out there working, selling buy one, get one free CBD so that the money could come in to pay all the corporate executives and all the overhead, because they got to do what they got to do, right? But the vendors weren't getting paid. And I was one of them. And I'm just shaking my head, thinking it's really about the people. And there wasn't much we could do. Dave and I felt so sorry for the people. We kept sending more oil free, not even getting paid for it, because I was so worried about the people over there that were trying to get a weekly check, a monthly check. I loved those people. I mean, they're human. They make mistakes. They didn't know what they didn't know. And then the next thing you know, all of their people's checks were bouncing. I mean, it wasn't anybody's fault other than a few poor decisions that affected the people in the field. And it was sad to watch because I had a lot of friends there. And one day, an investor paid off a bill, a $80,000 bill. And I was like, who is this guy? And his name was Terry LaCour. And I was like, we should probably meet him. I wonder if he's going to own them or buy them or what. And that's how I met a man named Terry LaCour. I was in Dallas doing a market. He asked me to come to a meeting. I came there. I really liked him. He's a billionaire. He's owned a lot of the top companies in the world. And he manufactures for everybody, whether it's Grant Cardone or Joe Rogan or CVS or 28 companies I won't mention because a lot of people don't know who makes their products. But I sat down at a table with him and he said, I want you and Dave to help me run this company here. And I have this lady that you can partner with. And you guys, there it was again, at a table, loved the guy, trusted everybody at the table, thought it was going to be great. Who wouldn't want to work with me, right? Like, let's go, let's go, let's go. Next thing you know, we get this company to $1 million in sales. And I find myself again in a partnership where she was great and I was great. We just weren't great together. And instead of having an argument as VPs, instead of saying, let's destroy everything about good what we built, I just quietly walked away. And I made a decision that day. Barb, you want to save the whole world and you want to trust everyone. Quit looking for you in other people. Quit looking for you in other people. And this is what I want to tell you guys. After what I've seen in the industry of direct sales, there is no way that I wasn't going to find a way to fix it. After how I've seen so many people treated and the way they've built their dreams and just watch them crumble before their eyes. Like, if I could find a way to make it better, how could I have that dream in my heart and not do it? Just because I had tried with other people or believed in other people, I couldn't deny what God had put in my heart. I had to get back up. And I remember telling my kids what I was thinking about doing. And, they watched their mom and dad build an empire and lose it 3 times. They're like, what? Like, why? Like, you're making so much money with real estate and essential oils and CBD. Like, you're the GOAT. Why would you think you need to go do this? Like, that's really how they felt about Dave and I. But there was a dream in my heart that I had no idea what was going to happen. I prayed about it. I woke up every day with this little book. If you're in direct sales, you need this book. Command the Morning. I would wake up every morning. There's a prayer for product-based businesses. I command nature to work in favor for me today. Prayers against the spiritual attacks of the day. Prayers against physical attacks of the day. Some of you are dealing with that. Ordering my steps today. Prayers against temptation and sin. Prayers against greed and ego. Intercessory prayers for other family members and loved ones. I mean, I wore this little book out. But this one right here, Prayers for Product-Based Owners, I want to share it with you before I end today. And I don't care what your faith is. You can take what you want like a buffet. If you don't like cottage cheese and beets, don't eat it. But I can't be who I'm not. And I wouldn't be on this Zoom today if it wasn't for the Lord leading me here. And I've asked him to put every single word in my mouth, not to offend any one of you, hurt your feelings, or think I'm talking bad about your CEO, your company. Just listen to this whisper when I say, be careful of companies with VC. Because when you have investors, I don't care how big Pizza Hut is. I don't care how big McDonald's is. I don't care how big Target or Walmart or any brand is. When it's a family-owned business, their livelihood depends on it and they care about the people. When it's an investor, it's transactional. It's completely transactional. And I've had to learn that a few times. Here's the part that I will tell you. I got on my knees and prayed that whatever I was supposed to do, God would lead me in that way. And at first, I was like, essential oils are not new. Like, we love that. We believe in them. I use them every day, but that's not going to do it. CBD, it's still a product I use every single day, but the timing of that, like, you could get that anywhere right now, right? Couldn't get it as good as mine, but you could get it. And I really prayed that the Lord would lead me in the right direction. And when we lost my mother-in-law that November, my life forever changed because she was the rock. She built everything with us that we ever did. Every convention, every incentive cruise. For 30 years in the industry, 28 of it, she was there. And that day when I lost her, all I knew is whatever I did, I was going to have Source Minerals to get the minerals in and the toxins out and alkalize my body every day. That's all I could think about. And weirdly, I thought this was going to be the thing that was going to change the world. Can you imagine? If all I had was this, I really believed as a CEO, if I walked down the street and there were 10 people, would 8 of them buy the product? Now, I could tell you with CBD cream, if I walked down the street and asked 10 people my formula with my oils and my CBD and frequency on it, if 10 people were lined up and 8 of them, I rubbed it on their back, 9 of them are buying. 9 of them are buying, even the one that hadn't tried it, because it worked. And I was like, you got to have a product that you yourself, not you're telling someone to sell, but you, the CEO, could sell it to everyone. And I prayed for that. So we invested in these little drops, and they alkalize the water, and they're tasteless, and all your minerals are right there, and it's really simple. And that was all I had. That was all I had. And I prayed and I prayed and I prayed. And in January, we went and met with this guy, my friend Terry, and explained to him, like, I love you. I need your backing. I need your wisdom. I need to be at the table. I need a mentor. I need someone to tell me everything not to do, because I am teachable. I am coachable. I don't have an ego. I am very intuitive, but I can't have anyone ever own me again, because at the end of the day, I have to be the protector of the dream. My word, my reputation, my integrity. And that day, this man said, I don't care what you do. I saw you walk away from $1 million. I saw you leave quietly. I saw you not rip a hole in that company. I saw your leaders go to every other company waiting on you to make a decision. And here you are, empty-handed, starting with nobody. I will do whatever you want to do. I'll manufacture, I'll ship. I got a legal team. I got the accounting. We'll never miss a beat. You have my word. Let's go. I just didn't know what to do. It was January 6th, praying about it, wanting to make the right move. It had to be a new category. He said, you guys love frequency. You really should do frequency. Like, that is your jam. Dave wrote a book about it. I'm like, yeah, but how do you describe that? Guys, February 23rd, my anniversary date of getting in this industry in 1996, Dave and I flew to Mexico to a wedding with our youngest. And I was so excited to be there. Dave and I were a part of it. We were the whole entire videographer team. I had just gotten my little pastor thing to be an officiant. So I was excited about that journey, and the wedding was going to be beautiful. And we went into a spa and turned off our phones, and we came out to hundreds of messages, just hundreds, and phone calls. And my oldest daughter had an accidental overdose on fentanyl. And that day forever changed my life. I didn't just start a company, not the next month, not the next month, not the next month, not for a year. And it was hard. That shit was hard. You only think you've had challenge with cancer, suicide, bankruptcy, companies folding. When it comes down to your own kids, you'll pretty much do anything. And that's what we did. We sold Dave's mom's house. We sold a med spa. We sold our best Airbnbs. We liquidated our savings. We wired money to a formulator in Dallas, and we were on a journey. Brain health, mental health, recovery, focus, helping people feel good, the dopamine that's not in the brain, that feeling of just whatever your body needs, it gets delivered, because when you feel good, you do good, and most people don't feel good. And keep in mind, guys, I did not have a company to roll into a company. I agreed I would not rip a hole in my previous company that I had left as a CEO. I would not email. I would not text. I would not go live. I wouldn't do anything. And I quietly prayed with so much discernment, Lord, tell me what to do. When you're trying to get your daughter well and you're mourning the loss of your mother-in-law, you can't beat yourself out of a wet paper bag. So I was really no threat to anyone. But I will tell you, nothing will ever stop something that God builds. I went to a mastermind just to pick the brains of people that I really envied and looked up to. A lot of the top people were there from Modere. I went there because my friend Lisa said she was going to go. She had just lost her friend and mentor, Jessie Lee Ward. She wasn't there. Jessie Lee Ward wasn't there. I didn't know one person in that room. I met a stranger out by the pool named Renee. She had been in Prove It, and I was trying to pick her brain. And I called a girl that said she was coming there on an airplane, and she turned around and went back home. So I literally found myself sitting in a mastermind where I turned around and there was two girls behind me that I had seen on social media, really didn't know them. But because I had stepped away from the industry, my whole team had to plug into someone, right? So they were getting mentoring and coaching from Marina, Simone, and Bryn. So I took a selfie with them and I said, I would love to pick your brain. We're working on starting a company. You guys seem to be killing it. You're the envy of the industry. And we became friends. And never in a million years did I ever think they would end up joining a company I hadn't even started yet and become top producers here in Frequenz. But God was directing my path. See, in the middle of what seemed like it was so painful, it was like a dot to dot. He was just lining up. And it was actually Marina's mom that said, nothing will ever break something that God built. I didn't even know her mom. It was on a phone call. Now, I want to tell you guys a really fast version of this before I have to jump off and get on our company training call. It was a hard 18 months. I didn't have a website up. I was dealing with things every single day. I didn't have capital venture. I didn't have anybody doing some back end deal. If this didn't work, I would lose my kids' childhood home. I would lose all of my savings. I would lose everything I built for 30 years and I would have nothing. Like, it wasn't, is this going to work? It was, this is going to work. This is my legacy. I will build this no matter who comes. Nobody was following me. I was starting, beginning with the end in mind. And on the very first Zoom, I had 12 people. And it wasn't like all the people I had known for all those years were on that Zoom ready to rock and roll. A lot of times, most times, people don't leave a company and all go somewhere else. I've never seen that work, ever. It sounds good. When Nutrition for Life went away, we were all going to go to a little company called Vitamark. That didn't work. People went a million different ways. Most people never believed in the industry again. Most quit. Some of my best friends I ever had have never came back to this industry because it was just too painful. But the message I want you to know is, I've been there. It is painful. It does suck. God will use you and your story. Remember what I said. A diamond is nothing other than a rock that stood up to really high stress, exceptionally well under pressure. And if I could tell you anything to do every day, you are the CEO of your own business. Pray. Wake up and pray. A random girl I had never met before looked at 90 companies, called me one day and said, I need to talk to you today. And I said, no, you don't. I was busy. 300 people in a room. I had just spoke at the DSN. We were company of the year, fastest growing company. I had no idea where people were coming from. They were just coming in. Most of them I never knew. At our convention, when we launched in February, of the room, I said, stand up if you've been with me over the last 30 years. I could count them on my hands how many people were in that room. I started over. I started fresh. And I prayed that the Lord would lead me the right people. No egos, no amount of toxic, none of that. No amount of talent is worth toxic people getting in your company, because if they will be toxic somewhere else, they will be toxic with you, and it will literally suck the life out of the entire company. That day on the phone, a girl called me. She said, I've done 40 million in my past. I'm looking for a home. She looked at 90 companies. She said, I can't believe you can pay that much. I love your product. The product, what we developed as a family, Callie, my youngest daughter, she's the COO. Talk about a girl that watched companies screw her parents over a million times. She runs a tight ship. She was drinking mushrooms. My son Chance was drinking mushrooms. They're both D1 athletes. She cheered at K-State. He played football there. Her boyfriend's a basketball player. Like, they take care of their health. They're young. The design is beautiful. Everything Chance and Kelly and Darian designed literally looks like an amazing brand, right? Me, I'm old school. If you would have put that crap in a Ziploc bag, I would have been like, it's good. Let's go. My friends are going to love it, right? We tested this product. 30,000 people lined up. The first day, when Dee and Jenna called and they took it, it was no different than Bren and Marina and Amber. Like, what is in this? How do I get more of this? And these diamonds that rose like embers from the ashes started over just telling people to rise and vibe. It was literally just rise and vibe. Nobody even understood that we had 11 harmonic frequencies embedded in every one of these products. That's why they're different. You can go get nootropics anywhere. You can go get your minerals anywhere, but you're never going to get them with 11 harmonic frequencies that literally light up every single bit of your body. Those 11 harmonic frequencies are even tuned in the straw, that when you sip it, everything going through it, our bodies are water and minerals. Everything going through it becomes tuned like an instrument, and you just feel good. When you feel good, you do good. It's not hard. It's not rocket science. God created energy. God led me to every bit of this through so much pain. And we launched a company this past February, had our first diamonds from Canada. Last month, we had 2 new diamonds, Stacy Job and Aaron Birch. Up in Canada today, I have Robin and Sarah calling me every minute. All of these people are looking at frequency. How fast can we have our warehouse actually here? Do you want to know something that's different about me being a CEO compared to everything that I have experienced in my past? At the end of the day, it's about the people. And if I don't take care of the people, I'm not going to have a company. This is a legacy to us. This is not transactional. Yes, LaCour does take care of our infrastructure. How else are we going to go from 300,000 to $1 million to 1.7 million and not miss a beat? I'm not going to be able to pack all those orders. I'm not going to be able to take all those calls. I'm not going to be able to, make sure that all the legal things and the website and the e-wallet, of course we need that. But here's what I want you guys to know. At the end of the day, I have an audience of one. I'm never going to make every leader happy. I'm never going to make all the people in the field happy. I'm never going to attract every great person out there to pick. I believe I have the best company. I believe I'm the best CEO. I believe there is nothing better than Frequence. But my company is not the best company for everybody. You got to decide what's the best thing for you. At the end of the day, I gave up my entire life for this. I'm not at my little grandson's football game last night. I'm on Zooms. I was in the bathtub on a phone call running water just to get the shampoo out of my hair because I care about the people. That's the responsibility I took on when I said, I'm your girl. I want to be the CEO. Nobody will outwork me, but that is not what I'm trying to impress upon you. Be a good human. Make good decisions. You have an audience of one. And at the end of this life, the only thing you have to answer to is him. And he's also in control of your future. He's also in control of your checkbook. He's in control of the next customer you have, the next prospect. This is what I do every single day. Prayers for your product and customer-based marketing business. And then I got to jump off and lead the company call. Oh, great and awesome God, today I ask that you use my business as an example to demonstrate your power of favor in the life of every woman and every man in the name of Jesus. Inspire me to create or stock products that have people looking for them so that I can make an impact and they will fall all over themselves to patronize me in the name of Jesus. Can you guys imagine a prayer like this? Knowing that your products are going to do that for people? I ask that you put your blessing upon the product so that I can change lives. Favor the customers. Let them be magnetized to my business in the name of Jesus. This is a real book, guys. I read it every single day. As you open the doors, and I open my doors today for business, let the customers begin to stream in. I decree favor upon the products, the people, the distributors. It's long. I would run out of time, but you should get the book because I want to tell you something. If God be for you, who dare be against you? I don't put my faith in man anymore. I don't put my faith in a deal, a car, a house, a check, a ring, a watch. It's all a facade. At the end of this life, the most important thing is, how did you serve other people and witness? How did you make impact? And as a family, when Dave and I sat down, with Brooklyn Chance and Callie and said, we're going to dedicate the rest of our life to this, we knew it was going to be a huge sacrifice. But every single decision we make, it's always about the people. And if you don't get anything else out of what I said today, if you're not in direct sales, you should look at it. I've never found a way in my life to make so much impact. I've also never seen a way for the average person, morally and ethically, to make so much income and know that you're changing people's lives. You can make a living at the same time. Folks, it doesn't get any better than that. Some days I feel like it's a closer family than blood. And it's definitely a ministry that gives so many people so much hope. A community where everyone feels valued and loved and accepted. We do not allow any of the bullying, the egos, the crap that I have experienced in my 30 years. It's just an amazing place to call home. And it's just getting started. So as a CEO, I spend most of my days working for all of you because it is about you. And every thought I have and every decision I make, it's not transactional. It's not about my bottom line, what we get. Heck, my family wasn't even on payroll. For a year, they worked relentlessly just to get it off the ground. But it's the vision of where we're going. We're taking thousands of people on a free cruise next February. Already lots of people winning that free cruise. We're taking hundreds of people to a mansion in June to celebrate their success. And every single day, we're sending out weekly deposits because somebody decided that they wanted to take care of their mental health. They cared about a family member that they wanted to feel good. I wish I could tell you what this product alone has done for my family and so many friends. But together, just rising and vibing and synchronizing, I didn't even talk about the best product we just launched because Dave came in here and took it during my presentation so he could take his daily dose. But it repairs DNA and it reverses aging. And there's clinical studies that show it. It's called Reverse. It's in a beautiful little time capsule. It's amazing. And it's changing people's lives all over the world. We just went international, Mexico, a whole bunch of other countries. But the most important thing that I want to impress upon you is, as a CEO, I want to share hope. And if you've ever been looking and you've ever thought, what am I going to do to make my life different? Like I was in 1996. I was praying for something to come along so I could just have more time with people I loved. And I had no idea how it would be packaged. And when it came, I was like, no, God, not network marketing. I mean, if you've been looking for a sign and you've been praying, I will tell you, I've never went and pitched my business on a No Guts, No Story in all the years. I've never done a presentation on this generic podcast to say, come and join my business. But today, the Lord just put it on my heart that even if one person might be watching, their back's against the wall, the funds are low, the debts are high, they're contemplating taking their own life like so many people are, or a drug or alcohol or abuse or gambling or cutting or whatever it is people do just to feel something. They don't want to do that. They just want to feel good. And I'm telling you guys, there is a better way. There is hope, and it's not that hard. In fact, if you try the products, you can get your affiliate ship free. And we pay 20 to 30% on the real dollar, 20% the day you start. You don't even have to work your way up. And it's really simple. And there's a money back guarantee. So I just felt like I should share with you all. That's my story. I've been in this industry for 30 years. Launched a company in February of this year. It's exploding. It almost doubled last month. Expecting to do that again. We're not going to miss a beat because we have the infrastructure. We have zero debt. We have all of the incredible teams and scaled systems, done for you systems, even funnels, landing pages. It's really, really simple. And I think you should try it. So get with the person that shared this video with you or reach out and we will get you a 5-day experience or a 30-day experience so you can rise and vibe like the rest of us. I love you. I hope you believe in your dreams. Dream big. I'm telling you, dream big. If God put it in your heart, don't give up. I almost did. That's the secret. Dream big dreams and never ever give up. Thank you guys for listening. I hope you got something out of today. If you're watching live, say live. If you watch the replay, say replay. And I'll be praying for you that you find a place that you can call home and achieve your goals and dreams. Have a good day, everyone.